If Logan Sargeant was in a Red Bull, could he get a pole and win a race? So that's basically the question I'm going to answer right now. That's why you clicked on this video. You requested this on my very old video. I'm a little sick, a little under the weather, so I am having some kind of problems with my voice. But I'm here. Let's get into it. But first, let's set a benchmark. Let's set for all the upcoming experiments, because I'm going to do all the drivers that we have talked about. Who could do something amazing? Who is going to perform the most incredibly in the slower cars? Right now, we're going to put someone from a slower car into a fast car and see if mistakes are a problem. I have not changed anything at the moment. Right now, we're taking the game F1 Manager 2023 as it is. No edits, nothing. I'm going into the first race, the Bahrain Grand Prix. We're going to do qualifying, going to do the race. We're going to see what happens for Max Verstappen in the race. We are expecting him to get pole. He will probably get pole. He will probably win, if not both. All right, let's get into it. I'm just heading right into the weekend. We'll do some laps. I'll explain what's going on as we go along. Alright, so after managing the first practice session and trying to get the best setup I could get out of it, I simulated FP2 and FP3. This got me to a 92% set of satisfaction. It's good enough. It's a good start. We'll go from here. 92 is the goal for both drivers. We'll have about the same track acclimatization, car part knowledge. We're approximately the same. I'm going to try to get it over 90%. That in terms of satisfaction for both drivers. We're going to see what their qualifying is going to be. I will not contribute to the qualifying whatsoever. So I will not be doing this qualifying myself. The race, obviously, I'll have to do it myself, but the qualifying will not be myself. I'll simulate the entirety of qualifying, so in Q1, Q2, and Q3, just to see where these guys end up and what the fastest time ends up being. Because I do believe that that's going to be a very important aspect of this entire experiment in terms of pure raw speed. Okay, so the fastest time is a 29.7 set by Max Verstappen between the two Red Bulls. What I'm going to do for the next experiment, for the next part of this experiment, will be put Logan Sargeant in the Red Bull car after this race is done. I'll give you just the race results. Not gonna bore you with the rest, but we'll see what happens. Alright, so as we are going through this entire thing, I did a pit stop strategy, as you can see right here. This pit stop strategy is what I'm going to do with Logan Sargeant. The only thing I did was I took the medium to lap 24, then strapped on brand new softs till lap 47, and then the last 10 laps I did on another set of softs. That's it. The time deficit to P2 looks to be around 30 seconds. I'm going to look at the fastest time he said in the... There we go. It looks like it's going to be 30. It's going to be 30 seconds. Absolute demolition job that we have come to expect from Max Verstappen.
A great drive today from Max Verstappen.
I mean, start to finish leading. Maybe, I think he might have not led the race for a moment, but that's it. Anyway, with that, the fastest time that Max Verstappen was able to set was a 1:33.7. Okay, that's what we're gonna go with. Now, I'm gonna come back, put Logan Sargeant in, we're gonna look at his stats, we're gonna look at Max Verstappen's stats at the end of this, and what has happened. Pit stops and stuff I'm gonna ignore because that is usually standardized. We'll see how Logan Sargeant actually responds to this. These are the stats that we're gonna look at once we have an understanding of where Logan Sargeant is. Are we ready? Let's get into it. And here we are. Logan Sargeant is 73 rated. We put him in a Red Bull. The reason I don't have any money going away from my entire bank account, it's exactly the same as before, is because of the sheer fact that I use database editor. The database editor is basically a program created by some people on the interwebs that allows you to change aspects of the game, from contracts, driver moves, car performance, calendar, and much, much more, including stats. Now, what I have not changed for this entire video is the stats of each drivers. The way the game loaded in is how I've left it, except for the fact that I've made an even switch between why am I clicking that? Between the two drivers. Max Verstappen is now in Williams, and Logan Sargeant is now in a Red Bull. That's the only change I've actually done. What we'll also do as this entire experiment progresses for this video is look at where Max Verstappen performs relative to Alex Albon, because let's face it, we as viewers rate Alex Albon very highly. Now, does Max Verstappen absolutely thrash him? Does Max Verstappen get into Q2 even? Because let's face it, he did not get into Q2. The Williams did not get into Q2 in the previous experiment. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure my editing me will put it in. Anyway, let's get into it. We are going to put exactly the same stuff here. Nothing else has changed. We'll just look into what happens after practicing. Let's get into first getting the satisfaction up to 92 at the very least. Now, 90% was just becoming impossible for me, so we are here. I have decided to leave it at 89. That's about a fraction of a percentage difference. His driver preparation is almost the same as Max Verstappen, so we are okay and covered in that fact. Because I believe Max Verstappen was on 81% and we are on, with Logan Sargeant, it's on 80, so they're both equally prepared. Let's just say that, right? Let's get into and see what happens for qualifying. And let's face it, we're gonna simulate all 3 qualifying sessions one by one. Logan Sargeant gets into Q2. That's a good sign. That's a very good sign. He gets into Q3 as well. That's also a very good sign. But look at Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen is into Q3. Alexander Albon was into Q2. That's impressive, to say the least. And that's Q3 time. What do we get? Logan Sargeant gets to P4 ahead of the Williams. At the very least, that is ahead. Now, the fastest time that Max Verstappen set in the Red Bull was a 29.7. Logan Sargeant, 30.5. This is absolutely slower than the entire grid is slower than what happened in the previous experiment with Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. Now, it could be because of some towing issues, but it could also just be the game saying that this is the peak performance that can be gained out of this. Now, Max Verstappen was quicker than Logan Sargeant in at least one of the sessions, which is impressive to say the least. The fastest time in the entire qualifying was set by Carlos Sainz, though, in Q1. Probably got a tow from his teammates or whatever. Let's get into the race and see what happens in the race. Let's not forget, lap 24, we're gonna pit from mediums to softs, brand new. And on lap 47, we're gonna set another set of softs, which are not gonna be brand new. Let's see what happens. So as I was setting up the strategy, I realized something. Logan Sargeant literally has no new set of softs left over. He has 2 sets of mediums, but not 2 sets of softs. That's unfortunate. And that does create a small diminishing factor of the entire strategy. Meanwhile, I believe, yeah, even Sergio Perez does not have that. We'll see how this works out in general, but we'll see how this works out in terms of actual lap times, because we're getting very close here. And doing the same strategy that we did with Max Verstappen will actually finish ahead of Logan Sargeant. That's the insane aspect that we kind of expected to see, but the fact of the matter is, Perez could have won this race on the same strategy as Max Verstappen. So Max Verstappen and Perez at peak performance could perform the exact same races, but just Max Verstappen is just better. So give him a better car, he's gonna perform better. It's insane. Logan Sargeant does get a point though, although it's not the amount of points we expected either of them to get. All things considered. Now, let me guys know, wow. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like, subscribe if you want to see more, and let me know what you want to see more of this. I've heard of seeing Max Verstappen in different cars. You want to see some other drivers you feel are underrated, I can try and get them in. Some drivers I can make it in, others not so much. Let me know who you want to see in these kind of experiment videos, and if you like these kind of experiment videos. I also do some predictions, news, Formula 1 related stuff. I'm all here. Like, subscribe, that's the good stuff. Peace out and get out of here.